Alright, in the above program we have seen just now, all of them use the void function and declared return 0. So this means that the function is not returning any value onto the integer main itself. It is also possible to return a value from a function. For this, we need to specify the return type of the function during function declaration. Okay, this is example 3 over here. Instead of void, as you can see, there are two functions, which is integer main and integer sum to integer. Over here, instead of void, it is written as integer because we want to send back the value that we want to find over here. All right. In the integer main, we need to see integer main first, and we have declared the integer for n1, n2, and sum. So over here, it is the standard thing, printf and scanf, the two integer number, n1 and n2, and adding those two functions. Besides doing normal calculations, we just using the function call together with the equal sign with sum. So sum would be equal to function call sum to integer n1 and n2. For by using the above example just now, if n1 is 10 and if n2 is 20, it sends in those value. It sends n1 and n2 into the above function inside this function parameter, which is integer num1 and integer num2. Integer num1 represents number 10 that we have sent, and integer num2 is number 20 that we have sent. Notice that both of these name is different. Above one is num1 and the below is n1. There is no problem by changing the name because the compiler itself understood that this one would be equal to this one. You can write it as the same name, but this is just one standard practice to makes you identify the code easier later down the road. All right. Now over here it has only one line of code, which is return. If you recognize return from previously, or over here it returns 0 usually, but now in this function it returns a value. So what value does it return? Over here inside the bracket, instead of 0, we add those two numbers that we have sent previously, which is 10 and 20. So in here there is another addition over here, the calculation for plus. We plus the 10 and 20, which is 30. Alright, those two sum together, 10 and 20 would be equal to 30. And now, after we have gotten the result 30, it will return the value for 30 back to the integer, the function call. And since this function call returns the number 30, sum is then equal to 30. Then printf the sum of two integers number are sum, and it is equal to 30. As you can see from the output over here, enter two numbers 10 and 20, and the sum of the two integers are 30. Alright, let's add more complication to our codes. So in this simple line of code, I mean it's not that simple, in these two functions displayed over here, which is integer main and integer add numbers, like I've mentioned multiple times previously, integer main is the things that we need to look after first. And inside here we have declared integer n1 and n2 and the name add. Over here, add is equal to add numbers by sending in n1, n2, and add. But previously we did not declare any value over here for n1, n2, and add, which means we want to find out what is n1, n2, and add by using this function above. This function call is looking for n1, n2, and add from this function. That's the simple terms lah. And inside this integer add numbers, here it has declared integer num1, integer num2, and integer results. And over here we are entering the value manually. Printf enter to number by using scanf also to get our num1 and num2. Thus, we are returning num1 plus num2 with the result that we have sent in our scanf, which is the 10 and 20. We are still using 10 and 20 for this reason. And since 10 and 20 plus is equal to 30, it returns the value 30. So add is equal to 30. And it will display printf the value add over here, which is 30. This is the output. Enter two numbers, 10 and 20, and the sum is 30. Alright, for this example, we want to look for by adding 4 numbers, which is a floating number. Previously, we have seen only by adding 2 numbers, but how about 4 numbers? It is not that different from the 2 numbers, just add 2 more identifiers over here. As you can see from the integer main, by starting this program with floating num1, num2, num3, num4, and answer. Answer will be equal to add num1, num2, num3, num4. This is our function call. It calls onto the above function by using float n1, float n2, float n3, and float n4. And we want to scanf this 4 number, entering our own value. In simple terms, we just want to add 1.5 for each of these numbers. After adding 1.5 for everything, it should be equal to 6. So it returns the number 6 back to the function call. And then ans answer is equal to number 6. And at the end of here, printf the total is 6 should be. So this is the output. Enter 4 floating number 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. And after you send in returning the value 6, ans is equal to 6. Thus it prints f the value. The total is 6. So function can get a bit complicated in the earlier stage, but after you have playing around with the function like this, it should be easier to read and write your own coding. So why do we need functions in C? Functions are used because of the following reasons. It is to improve the readability of the code. Like I've said, it can use to simplify the code, and it should not be any complicated by reading only one integer main. And with this spreading of code by using different function, you are able to identify the problems easier by looking for the function name itself instead of looking through and read one by one inside the integer main. It improved the reusability of the code. Same function can be used in any program rather than writing the same code from scratch. Like I've mentioned over here, debugging of the code would be easier. The errors of this coding is easier once you have separated all of them in different sections. And it reduced the size of the code. The code's duplicate sets statement are replaced by function calls.